Starfish troopers. With Harry Cookie Monster and Lowlands Pete and not Dr. Robert is with us too.
The Prime Minister's office in the UK is testing software to predict if someone will become a killer later in life.
Look at me. Positive for Howard Marks. I'm placing you under arrest for the future murder of Sarah Marks and Donald Dubin that was take place today, April 22nd, at 0800 hours and 4 minutes.
It's a modern-day version of the movie Minority Report, where technology is used to predict and arrest people before they commit murders. Similar to the film, the Ministry of Justice is using the Homicide Prediction Project to gather police and government data to create profiles and assess risk, now titled Sharing Data to Improve Risk Assessment. State Watch submitted a Freedom of Information request to get more details about the collaboration with police and the UK's Division of Public Safety. The government explains the pilot program reviews offender characteristics and assists in determining risk assessments for homicides. The Ministry of Justice states it's for research and policy only, not to be used within the court system. The program aims to answer 3 questions. Can data science improve predictions? How can local police data enhance accuracy in predicting serious violence? And can it help understand offender risk and promote more collaboration with local police?
The number one fattening ingredient in the world is not fat or sugar. Let's see if you can guess what it is. It's something that we consume a lot of. I'm talking about 275 pounds of this stuff every single year. This ingredient is in virtually all junk food. It will spike your blood sugar higher than actual sugar. It will create a fatty liver faster than any ingredient. In fact, if you consume it every day, you're going to end up with a fatty liver in 2 weeks. Guess what? It's not even sweet. The real purpose of it is just to act as a filler, to add bulk to junk food. This ingredient is industrial starch. Industrial starch is something so refined, so modified from its original form because of the high heats, chemicals involved, deodorizing it, taking the color out, no vitamins, minerals, phytonutrients, fiber, nothing but pure carbohydrate. Of course, they're not going to list it as industrial starch. They're going to name it as maltodextrin, modified food starch, modified corn starch, wheat flour, rice flour, tapioca flour. If you ate it, it'd be quite disgusting. They have to add sweetener, coloring, flavors, so you'll eat it. It resembles no food in our environment. It's engineered to keep us really hungry. We can't just eat one. We have to keep eating, which creates a higher blood sugar issue, leading to more diabetes, high blood pressure, and a fatty liver.
Is this image anti-Semitic? Let's talk about why coins have ridges on the side. Most modern coins don't have the ridges anymore because coins are valueless. Now they're just chunks of metal. Back in the day, your coin was silver. Genuine silver. During these times, how much of the coin that was present was important because the silver content of the coin gave it its value. In present times, if your economy goes bust, your coins are useless. You cannot trade with it, as its value only came from what the ruling government has set. This does not apply to other countries and governments. Now, if you had 10 silver coins and your society collapsed, you can go barter those coins elsewhere, as it would still hold value. So Jews back in the day would clip these silver coins. They'd clip a little bit of silver off the coin and then go spend it. Eventually, they'd amass a large portion of silver clippings, which they then can smelt into a new coin. For those who don't know, Jews were kicked out of a country for doing this in the year 1290. Which wasn't long after they were kicked out of France for their Talmud practices in 1240. On July 18, 1290, King Edward passed a royal decree named the Edict of Expulsion, where 300 Jews were sentenced to death for child sacrifices and coin clipping, which led to interference with the currency. You're welcome to fact-check me on this, but all the evidence is online.
You guys want to hear something terrifying? The prophecy of the popes. Oh boy.
This book was found in the Vatican archives, predicted every single pope from in 1143 all the way to our current pope. But the scary thing is, after Pope Francis, the last one, it just says Judgment Day.
Oh gosh.
It literally ends after Pope Francis?
Yes, the creepiest thing that I saw inside St. Paul's Basilica, bordering the whole inner sanctuary, is every single pope. But what's weird is that there's only a certain amount of markers to where you can put a picture. There's one left after Pope Francis. They have always said that once that last slot is filled, it will be the end of the world. What he predicted, the time it took to go from the first pope that he wrote about, halfway mark, was 422 years. And he's saying from the middle one to the end, another 422 years will be the end of the world. If you do 422 years from the middle pope, which was 1585, that year is 2027.
Dang!
It's even weirder. Pope John the 23rd, and he said that the end of the world would happen 2,000 years plus Christ's life. So that adds up to 2027 as well.
The herb with the strongest detoxifying properties is cilantro. The herb with the strongest kidney cleansing properties is parsley. The herb with the strongest antibacterial properties is oregano. The herb with the best respiratory soothing properties is thyme. The herb with the highest antioxidant content is rosemary. The herb with the strongest anti-inflammatory effect is tulsi, also known as holy basil. The herb with the best memory-boosting properties is sage. The herb with the strongest immune-boosting properties is echinacea. The herb with the best properties for relieving menstrual cramps is dill. The herb with the best digestive properties is peppermint. The herb with the best anti-anxiety properties is ashwagandha. The herb with the best stress-reducing properties is basil. The herb with the best blood sugar regulating properties is fenugreek. The herb with the most calming properties is chamomile.
They want to enslave your child, your wife, your mother. There isn't anything that you ever had. There isn't anything that you own. There isn't any right that you possess that they're not planning on taking away. Sheeple. Your sheeple. And your children are going to be slaughtered if you go along with the program. It's time to wake the town and tell the sheeple. We're being led like sheep to the slaughter. What is the purpose? A new world order.
I'm at the point now where I don't think I fought for the country. I fought for some politician's view on something. And I remember one dude in particular that I killed. And, I shot his buddy. And then I came through his room. I killed him in front of his wife in a bedroom because he went for a gun. And I think about him now and it's like, all right, why did I kill that guy? Well, because he went for a gun. Okay, but why did he go for a gun? Well, because I was in his fucking room at 2 a.m. Well, why was I in his room at 2 a.m? Well, because George fucking Bush was pissed that Saddam Hussein allegedly wanted to kill his dad, so we invaded. And then I start to think, was this guy funny? What if I met him in Paris over a coffee? Would we have actually liked each other and I just kill him because a politician sent us here for weapons of mass destruction that didn't exist?
Plane has crashed into the World Trade Center.
When we had a meeting with oversight staff and Anna Polina Luna, we had a really productive meeting. Grush, it was like drinking from a fire hose. He gave probably 20 different names of individuals, some that you've heard of, but most of them I've never heard of being discussed in the UFO community, and these are all people that have been read in on the programs, according to Grush. And then some of them are retired, some of them are active, he also gave us an indication as to which ones will be hostile and which ones will not. So by hostile, what I mean is that they're not going to willingly come forward and provide information like he did. They're not, they don't want to talk about this topic. And if we were to bring them forward, they would probably say, I can't, or I don't recall, or I can't speak to that. Right. So that would be a hostile witness. So we want to get, there's some people that we may have to bring forward and subpoena to bring forward. And so that's kind of how that conversation went.
Okay, what I'm going to share with you guys is what we know to be real and true. And when I tell you this, I urge you to not restrict your thinking to technology. We've been collecting UAP data for more than 5 years with electromechanical signaling. We call this our dog whistle. What the technology is classified. Generally speaking, we see 3 to 5 different classifications of UAP per day during operations. To make sense of our data, we had to develop a lexicon, and we base it off of flight characteristics. Again, there are 9 different flights or classes, and some of these UAPs may be the same type of UAP under different flight configurations. But at this point, given their behavior, we are confident that they do not align with your typical extraterrestrial explanation. Again, each UAP has different characteristics. Some tumble, some spin, some flicker, some just look like a living being flying in the sky. UAPs are extremely hard to image. What is seen with the naked eye generally is not what is seen under camera, and we do not know why.
I understand you're here to claim asylum because you're gay. Is that correct?
Period.
So is that a yes or a no? Are you gay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what's happening in your country then?
Yeah, my country. That's why I'm in the UK, sir. And every day they try to beat me back home in my country. They whoop my ass.
Wow.
I want to remain in this country.
Okay. Have you got family back home or?
Yeah, I've got wife and kids. I'm so sorry.
Oh, sorry.
I mean, I've got a boyfriend.
Okay. Why do you keep clicking your fingers? It's annoying.
Because we gay people, we have to do this.
I don't know. Anyways, your case is quite sad,
you.
okay? We're happy to listen to you, okay?
Really, sir? Oh my God.
We will be sending you to
you.
the gay capital of Africa, South Africa, okay?
Sorry, sir?
We feel like it's better for you to be at home.
I'm coming from Nigeria. You can't say that.
That's correct, yes.
Oh.
We will be sending you back home to South Africa. All right, okay?
Oh, no, sir. Look, sorry, I had a cough.
Sorry.
I'm actually straight, okay? I'm actually on a student visa.
Mate, listen.
Post-study visa. Let me finish my visa.
You can
I still have 2 years left.
It's fine to be honest with us, okay? We don't judge.
I'm being honest with you. Look at me, I'm straight. I have wife and kids.
It's okay.
I like women. I love women.
This is a safe space. John,
Sir,
get his
look at me,
paperwork and get the guys to take you to the airport.
No worries.
You're safe,
Sir,
okay?
I'm safe. I'm straight.
It's fine. Just go with them. They're going to prepare your flight. You will be in South Africa by tomorrow night, okay?
I was used in Las Vegas when I was a teenager with Elvis Presley, and I watched in horror as this man would throw up after he had been programmed. And I watched him cry and ask, "What's wrong with me?" and not be able to have sex because he was so sick from what they were doing to him. And I had been sent in to have sex and deliver messages to him, to deliver to then the programmed audience. And through my experience, I know that people like Elvis Presley are programmed, that people like Neil Diamond are all part of this, and people like Michael Jackson. I watched Michael Jackson be abused as a child. So as all of us together that have been through this identify the people that are in positions who are programmed, we have the fuller, bigger picture, and we will be able to stop this and bring help to those that are still suffering.
People ask me why their grandparents or great-grandparents never talked about the reset. Why don't they remember anything about it? Well, let me try to explain it. First, there were the Cabbage Patch Babies. Now, these weren't just toys, you see. They became a symbol of something much bigger, a massive repopulation effort after the reset. These babies, they weren't born the usual way. They were produced almost mechanically in large numbers and distributed through a cold, efficient system. Strange, isn't it? Brings to mind ideas like cloning, doesn't it? And maybe that's why today you see so many folks who just seem to go with the flow. No questions, no thinking. Did you know they say Nearly half the population doesn't even have an internal monologue. Imagine that, living life with a quiet mind, just following along. Those babies, those orphan trains, they were shipped off, along with abandoned children who had survived the reset, taken from their families, sent to faraway lands. Many ended up in America. And when they got there, they were given a new story, the official version of history. No elders left to tell them the truth. Nobody to remember how things used to be. It made them easier to control, you see, easier to accept the new narrative.
When you realize the world is a little bit odd.
Tommy Robinson has lost an appeal against his 18-month sentence for contempt of court. The far-right campaigner, whose real name is Stephen Yaxley Lennon, was jailed in October last year after admitting multiple breaches of a High Court order made in 2021, which barred him from repeating false allegations against a Syrian refugee who successfully sued him for libel. The 42-year-old appealed against his sentence on Friday, with the Court of Appeal told that his mental health, combined with his segregation in prison, was making him ill.
And I'd never seen hardly any black people in Scranton at the time and I was only going in the 4th grade. And I remember seeing the kids going by at the time called colored kids on a bus going by.
It's only going to get weirder.
There's only one word that you need to describe America, and that word is...
Well, he's back. He's alive. Everybody thought he was dead, but he ain't. No, he's alive. He's
I mean, they've recloned him.
And the first thing you said was a fucking racist shit. We all the black guys.
When I was a kid, we'd never seen a black bitch before. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, Biden is back. Oh my God. I thought he was dead, but no. Nope. Nope.
I thought he was stuck in the basement getting his butt wiped.
No, he seemed quite alert, but still reading off a fucking teleprompter. So, you know.
Well, we've only got 15 things to talk about there, Pete.
Oh, just 15?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things more to chat about later. So. Yeah, there's plenty of it. It's all over the place, but yeah.
Oh, I only wrote down 13, so I must have missed a couple.
Oh.
No.
Dang it.
There was a couple of like comedy clips. Maybe it was them that I didn't include.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Well, so, where you want to start? Is there anything with Laxley or Yaxley, or are we going reverse?
Start by saying hello to everyone, Pete. Go on.
Oh, hello, everyone.
And hello, Paula. I just seen in the chat. I'm glad you're feeling up to jumping in the chat. Good to see you again.
Good to see you back. Yeah, I haven't seen you.
I hope you're well. Feeling better. Feeling more whoosh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, who else do we have? We got, first was genuinely concerned today.
Wow. Not James.
Not James, no. He was first in the Rumble chat, though. But, you know.
Loser James.
But he admits the world. He was a bit cheating because I shared the link and, you know, he just clicked on the link and then, I'm first. So yeah, there you go. So, well done, GC. So we got James, we got GC, we got Kitty. Kitty was here early as well. Hi, Kitty.
And Rick, the tree planter.
Well, Rick is here. Titty Rick.
Well done, mate. Planting trees. Good on
Yeah,
you.
for the squirrels. So he's doing his good deeds.
And for making the Nutella.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what he's up to with the nuts, but yeah. We'll ask in the after chat. Maybe. Roberto Rhymes. Hi, Roberto. Good to see you, mate.
Bird. Bird is the word.
Yeah, we got Dustin here. On Nitset.
Hello, hello.
And we got Kendo. Oh, David first. David. We got David. And we got Kendo.
Hello, hello. I'm trying to catch up. I'm scrolling.
Our good friend Rich T is here as well.
Good evening.
See, I'm scrolling, so it sounds a bit rough. Yeah. But High Plains Drifter is here.
Cool.
Hi, good to see you.
Hello.
To see you, nice. Hey, that's it. I think I got
Luke.
No, Luke.
Luke.
And
hello.
Luke. I don't know what that means, but hello.
Wagwan.
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 Okay. I guess it's Welsh. It's Welsh.
He's practicing his Rastafari. And Jerry, son of Mick, good evening.
Cool. Hi, Jerry.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I'm caught up as
well. We're at the
now.
bottom. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Scrolled all the way.
Oh, there's Jerry. Yeah. Hi, Jerry. So yeah, it was a bit of a long intro. A bit, not that long. Not that long than usual, but you know, there was quite a bit in there.
You had longer ones, Pete.
Yeah, but usually I have longer clips than that's why they end up a bit longer. But I had a lot of clips today. I don't know why, but I still got a bunch more to show. So if we bored, but yeah, let me see. What was the first clip that I had in the?
I especially didn't like the reset one. That's one I haven't put in my notes because I thought it was total rubbish.
Yeah.
AI generated bunkum.
Well, the cabbage babies.
Yeah.
Remember those?
Yeah. Industrial printing. Yeah.
No, the first one was the pre-crime thing. We spoke of it last night a bit on Rob's show. He pointed it out.
Yeah.
Brought it up. So, yeah, people are talking about it now. Like,
yeah, I think they
that's a bit Minority Report-y, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's not very popular. So
you say that, though, but considering the way they've been talking about all the knife crime and stuff like that, I think you might find that there's a lot of people out there that will be like, well, we need this kind of shit so we can identify all these crazy violent people that are knifing
those assbows, yeah, the far right people. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's added into the facial recognition rollout.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's, I think it's the same kind of tactic where they'll mention something that seems a little bit extreme to many people, but really the purpose is to slip in something that will make them think it's less extreme. Yeah, it's like, oh, we don't want pre-crime. That's like Minority Report. That's over the top. That's too much. But we'll allow you to have facial recognition so you can identify the criminals and the illegal immigrants and the violent people. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What they already can do for most crime, I would say.
Yes.
Most of those people already have a record in crime, probably.
Yeah.
Or if there's some abuse or, relationship shit going on, there's reports on that before they kill their ex or before they kill the wife or before,
And they've had this kind of software for quite a while. Certainly since at least around the introduction of the Palantir data collection system, and there is a state version. I'm trying to remember the name of it now, and I can't think of it. That the MI6, MI5 use, and most of the other European agencies use. And it's partly fed by Palantir, but they also take in data from other sources. But yeah, the point being, they have for quite a few years now had the ability to do pre-crime modeling. They've made this point before. They've put it in the news media before. It's just this time they've included the word murder. Yeah, so now this time they want the public to focus on the crime of murder, because that, like I said,
That's the worst thing you can think of. So obviously, yeah.
Yeah, people are going to be more inclined to go, oh, well, you know, if it's murderers, yeah, we need to catch them.
Yeah.
But they're
Funny, it's not pedophiles, by the way.
I know.
I would say they are higher on that list.
Yeah. But that argument's been made for quite a while. It's like if they've got all this kind of surveillance set up, such that they can track and monitor everything that we're doing, how the fuck come they can't track down all these pedos? Considering most of these pedos share their information via electronic means. I mean, maybe not necessarily over the internet, but even so, you know, they meet and they exchange stuff and whatever. So if they can track what we're doing, why the fuck can't they track all those fuckers, you know?
Yeah. Well, we know Echelon, right? That the Israeli program that has been listening to all our phone calls and communications and is triggered by words, and you get flagged if you say bomb or explosion.
You just said it.
I'm thinking of a couple more.
But this all just fits into digital ID again, doesn't it?
Chemtrails.
Yes. Yeah.
It just fits. I mean, Tony Blair's been going on about digital ID again, hasn't he?
Yeah.
In the last few days, he's been trying to
pet
push
subject.
Hey,
it's been his pet subject for many years. He tried to push it on us in the 90s, and the public said, "No, fuck off, you crazy shark face cunt."
Yeah,
but he's still lurking in the background, constantly trying to push it.
And they reckon there's going to be the forecast is that there's going to be 25.5 million UK citizens to use digital ID apps by 2029, because which is accelerated by the government's UK app, the gov.uk app.
Yeah, there was another one that they mentioned recently as well. I can't remember the name of it, but it's for quick access through an airport.
Yeah,
you know, it's kind of like a preferential boarding system.
Yeah, that's the one. I did a story about it.
I got a clip. I got a clip.
Yeah,
here we go.
Now get arrested upon entry into the UK for social media posts done in America. Meaning the UK has just joined the likeness of countries like North Korea and Saudi, where they do not recognize Americans' rights. The American Center for Law and Justice says that if an American speaks in the United States in a way UK officials construe as affecting their national interests or even producing substantial effects within the country, even if that's just a statement about your Christian faith or your political stance, then you could be arrested upon entry in the UK. So the UK does not recognize the United States' First Amendment right of free speech.
Oh, not according to Keir Starmer. He told Trump that, we're very proud of our free speech in the UK.
Yeah, we invented it, didn't they say that?
Yeah, he literally blatantly lied to his face in the Oval Office of the White House.
Yeah,
and straight-faced in the sociopathic blank expression that he does, you know.
Yeah, but they made an exemption for Americans, so, yep. Free speech. Nope.
Yeah, there is an all-out push towards, it is, like you say, it is a digital ID that they're trying to get people onto, and they're approaching it from multiple different directions. The airport access, the murderer identification, the immigrants identification, all of
financial
this.
Stuff.
The financial stuff as well. Yeah, there's been
digital
a few
wallet.
things about that.
Well, Sorry.
So I was just going to say, all of it is to herd people towards digital ID without them realising it.
Yeah. Yet if you get a dinghy, just float over.
Throw away your passport.
Yeah, no problem.
Even though
no cavity searches.
Nearly every European country has put out a message about having a survival kit that includes having a waterproof bag with all your identity documents in. But these people on boats don't seem to be able to manage that. They just magically lose all their documentation.
Yeah, it goes on.
Maybe they can apply some pre-crime on that Cookie.
Cookie, it goes on as well. When they land in Ireland, they throw away their passports.
Yeah,
as well.
Maybe they're making the boats out of the passports. That's what it must be. Because we know
Indestructible
since
passports.
9/11, passports are indestructible.
I just think it's a travesty that we've still. I mean, I helped a couple of homeless people out when I was down in Bournemouth the other day. And
you far right bigot.
I know, and they're not. They weren't foreign. They were British people that were saying like, "Oh, can you help us out? Can you buy us a sandwich and something to eat, or have you got a couple of quid or whatever?" I didn't see anyone foreign, that were on the streets, and all I saw was just British people that were homeless.
Yeah.
So they're the ones that are not being helped. But I said to one of them, I said, maybe you should go and try and pretend to land on a boat, and you might get housed then.
Yeah. What did they say?
He goes, well, yeah, if I could get down there.
But it is something that seems to be affecting a lot of seaside towns in particular.
Oh yeah,
and I'm not sure if it's because of a sort of cultural change where there's a lot less people spending time at the seaside, going for little holidays or weekend breaks away or something. I don't know, but there just seems to be this increasing deprivation that's happening in all our seaside towns.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's funny you should say that, Cookie, because when I was in Great Yarmouth a couple of weeks ago, I saw what I would call more non-British people there.
Yeah. Well, didn't they want us to move out of those areas, right? Wasn't that the plan in the first place?
Yeah.
No, the plan is, Pete, they want us to all be in big cities, smart cities, 15-minute cities.
Yeah, but those attractive places, far out at the coast or somewhere in the middle of England, there are not escapes anymore because of this, right?
Yeah, and the kind of how to put it, there's kind of like a what I used to call a Disney culture. We've got this kind of ubiquitous corporate culture now it's not just here in the UK, it's across most of the Western world, the developed world, where you see the same corporate names on every high street. As well as here in the UK, we've got that situation where you see nail bars and Turkish barbers on every fucking high street there. Yeah, but you also see like the typical corporate names like McDonald's and Starbucks and all the usual bullshit. It seems it doesn't matter where you go across the country. I know this isn't strictly true. I'm stereotyping a little bit, but it's like everywhere you go, you see the same kind of blandness. There's no sort of local...
I used to work in the big cities, right?
Yeah.
And there was always that thought, okay, if I have enough money or whatever, I'll just, look up a nice village or a nice farmhouse or whatever in the back of Holland, nice and quiet, no problems, no issues, no metropolitan issues, right, with migrants and all that shit. But that's no longer the case.
Yeah. No, it's certainly not.
They're not even replacing these villages. They are like, here's a village, like they had 300 people living there in a village, and they put 600 migrants there.
Yeah.
Right? So the whole village, it's kaput. It's gone.
Yeah.
Right? And all the locals are trying to sell their house and move out.
Yeah, but they can't because
the price have dropped and nobody wants to buy it. And exactly. So, they are destroying those places where we used to have an escape. Like, even the city folk, like, yeah, I'm gonna work in the city for 4 or 5 years and then fuck off because
Move to the country.
yeah,
Can't do that anymore.
yeah.
Well, you
But
can,
that's
but
no
you.
longer really the case. So yeah.
Hello in the chat.
Sad.
Deb and
Deb.
Jimmy's in the chat as well. Hello.
Yep.
Yeah, I think you could probably still do it, but you'd have to work for a lot longer or find yourself a much higher paying job. Because the cost to be able to find somewhere and pay for somewhere that is still sort of out the way in that kind of fashion is, it's getting ridiculous. It's becoming unaffordable.
Yeah.
Yes, James, move to Hungary.
Yeah, Hungary.
Well, yeah, well,
Poland.
they're well, they're heavily under attack by the EU and all
the
the
EU
globalists.
are trying
So
to really shut them down, Pete, aren't they?
yeah, so
yeah,
I hope they survive. But if you look at
they're gonna
Kosovo
struggle.
and Serbia, and they don't like strongholds.
Yeah.
Well, we're not allowed to have national identity anymore, are you?
No.
I am not a nationalist. I'm sure the regular listeners have been listening to me rant and rave for years. They know full well that I'm not. I'm not that kind of attitude at all. But I think it's definitely relevant when you're talking about culture. To me, I don't see any problem with people being able to travel around and cross borders easily and stuff like that. But that's what we have a system of passports for. That's why we have a system of boundaries where you go through and you go from one country into another and you experience a distinct cultural change. I did that when I was younger, traveling around different places in Europe, and you go somewhere and it's like, oh, wow, yeah, this is definitely different to where I live back home. Whereas now they want us to have this, like I was talking about earlier, this bland corporate monoculture, where everything looks the fucking same. Everything looks like that. Yeah. Paris, Africa.
Paris, Africa. Yeah. That's what I thought. Like, since when is fucking Paris in Africa? This is,
some of the
it's like they recreated Paris in South Africa somewhere. Like,
yeah, but it is a little bit misleading because
they have boroughs like that.
Yeah, they've been that way for a long time because of the French colonial situation.
Yeah.
France is one of the
also,
North Africans cookie.
You could do the same thing in parts of Luton.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean it's okay.
I'm not saying I'm not saying it's okay. But then again,
I don't know. I could also argue that it's okay in the sense that it makes a really good example of how people prefer to be around their own culture.
Yeah. Sure. If they live in harmony, like the Chinese boroughs and the Indonesian boroughs and whatever Asian boroughs
gather together like birds of a feather do. So you end up with these enclaves, these ethnic enclaves that form.
That's the problem.
Yeah, and the problem started in probably the 80s and 90s when the government's got it in their head. I know this is all a bit of a disjointed explanation because I'm sure we know full well that it's all connected into the globalism narrative, the one world system narrative. But the point I was going to make is back in the day, the government's got it in their head to try and persuade us about this multiculturalism concept where we'd all mix together and every city had become like a happy mixing bowl of cultures, and you'd have people living next door to each other who've got radically different cultures and everyone would get along happily, la 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 la. That's not natural. That's not what people do naturally.
No. The assimilation idea, that's a fucking, that doesn't work. That never worked. You cannot, you cannot make a Frenchman out of an African. That's not
birds of a feather flock together.
Yeah, exactly. Of course. Just look at us. Like when we go to Spain, like on a holiday, right? We have our British enclaves, we have our Dutch enclaves, we have, all
Benidorm
that.
is more British than Spanish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I grew up experiencing it as well.
Irish pubs are global.
Yes.
In Birmingham, there was an Irish area, there was a Pakistani area, there was a Jamaican area, there was a Nepalese area. Where a lot of the Gurkhas used to live, and they all stuck together. They all lived in the same roads and whatever. People naturally gather with their own culture, their own ethnicity. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, it's only a problem when they start attacking each other for no good fucking reason.
Well, if they take over the tribal shit over here, right?
Yeah.
And continue that, or if they try to introduce Sharia law or any radical fucking
Or they
shit,
bring,
like because there are
medieval-
definitely no-go areas in fucking Paris as well. Like whole boroughs, you know, a policeman has to, you know,
Listen,
he's not going in there.
Pete, I bet what happened in Paris is probably what's happened in the East End, and that is that people that have owned those properties that are now surrounded by a different culture have sold up, made a killing, and moved out to the countryside.
Well, Paris is not benefiting of any of it because if you look at the Champs-Élysées and the Eiffel Tower and those places, it's loaded with African salesmen and you know all kinds of shit.
But this is probably
That's not
why
okay.
that's happened, because you know people who I mean, look what's going on in America now. You've got big companies that are buying the properties, and they're getting them because they can outbid anyone because they get cheaper loans. Simple as that, really.
Yeah, but it is a globalist idea that it's behind this. Like you know, somebody's opening up these borders and letting them
exactly.
in, period.
We know that. Yeah.
And that's
it's
on
almost
purpose.
anyone would think it's almost like the Kalergi plan.
Exactly. So you know, let's not romanticize it either, because they would not like us to do the same. You know, they would say, "Oh, you're colonizing us again," right? If we would start up something in Nigeria or wherever. So you know, there has to be a balance in all of this.
No,
And
it's a global plan where they've allowed. I mean, look, you know. 30 years ago, right, if someone would have arrived on a boat, they wouldn't say, I'll tell you what we'll do, right? We'll put you up in a nice hotel, keep you all nice and cozy. We'll give you a mobile phone. We'll give you a little bit of pocket money, right? And we'll keep you tight until you can find a nice job and settle in somewhere else. That wouldn't have happened 30 years ago.
No, I know.
But that's happening everywhere now.
Yeah.
Look, I can see the hypocrisy as well. Like, you know, we have been spending, God knows how much money on good intentions, right? Into Africa, like making pumps and sending money for food and rice and trying to, and we actually believed all those NGOs like, oh yeah, we're going to give you £10 and £10 is going to that poor African kid and we're going to help them, right? And none of that happened. Because Africa, in reality, is the fucking richest continent on the fucking planet. Right?
With the poorest population.
Yeah. With the fucking poorest population. And we have to do something about that problem, because that would stop migration immediately. Because why the fuck would you want to leave a gold mine like that, literally?
Yeah, a good example is Libya. When
and they don't know it. They don't know it. And that's the sad part about it. They are fleeing a gold mine thinking, you know, they're getting welcomed here with golden streets and all that shit.
But at the same time, to a large degree, they're either getting invited in some fashion, maybe not directly, but they're being enticed by the
NGOs.
possibility, or they're getting pushed out through wars and violence and other sort of ethnic cleansing problems. You know, so it's part of that colonial system still. You know, the colonial system is still being used to create the globalism dream. Yeah, and to fuel that Kalergi plan.
Yeah, well, that would be the real solution. We don't have to close our borders. We just have to let them fucking thrive over there, and it'll be all right, right? So, yeah.
Jerry, our Irish correspondent, says exactly what's happening here. The new buildings, most high-rise apartments, are being built around existing estates.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hello, Manos.
Hey, Manos.
Join the chat. Yeah.
Good to see you.
Before we spend too much time just talking about that, because we started off talking about pre-crime
Minority Report.
Pre-crime, and then we had the Starch clip.
Well, I think you should link the Starch clip to the stuff about the herbs.
Yeah,
because that little video with all the list of the herbs was brilliant, you know, because it was really concise, gave you loads of information, all the different herbs it mentioned, and what the guy was talking about with the starch, I thought, if you could cut out
That's
that
the
shit,
industry food, like the industry cooking oil and the industry, right? That's the stuff you really have to be careful about. It's not so much the sugar or the meats or the fats or whatever bad they say. But
I liked your clip today, Pete, with the 25-year-old McDonald's hamburger.
Yeah, that was good, right?
Yeah.
25,
well,
and
that's starch.
It still looked edible, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. You
Kind
probably,
of. From a distance.
In the future, after the great apocalypse,
I got it.
When people are, mooching through the wasteland trying to find tins of beans and whatever, they'll find that and they'll probably fucking eat it.
Yeah.
It'd be that and a packet of Twinkies.
20 years. It's 20 years old.
Beg your pardon.
It's relatively fresh.
Yeah.
I remember the Burger Museum.
That's the fries.
Yeah.
I think it was in the early noughties when the guy first put out the information on the internet and showed a video of his burgers, and he got burgers from the 80s, and they were still the same, just like that.
Yeah.
Do you remember when burgers first started here? A Wimpy cookie.
Yes, yeah. I thought they were all right. The Wimpy burgers.
Yeah, the Wimpy bar.
Yeah.
You used to go to the Wimpy bar, didn't you?
Yeah, and they also used to do that, like curled up sausage. It was like a ring. Yeah. It was, I can't even remember.
Oh, I don't remember that. I don't remember that.
Yeah, it was like a sausage ring. It was like yeah, I can't think how to describe it.
Sausage ring.
Yeah,
but yeah, it makes you think. I mean, that's all we need is herbs to heal us. Absolutely, it makes you wonder if you didn't just.
Well, all the medicine is out there, right, in nature.
Exactly, Pete, and
if you don't medicine,
if you just don't get maybe buy yourself a load of herbs and put them in capsules and take those daily.
Yeah.
Whatever
or get the super herb weed.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember one of the main things my aunt, when my aunt and uncle had the farm, which was a small holding, which had a few, the usual kind of mixed farming setup, but she had her own herb garden and what they call like a cottage garden where she'd grow extra vegetables and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, she used to have loads of different herbs. It wouldn't surprise me if most of the ones mentioned she probably had in her little garden. I can't remember it that well because I was only young, but I just remember the fact that she, you go out in the garden and you get that really strong smell from all the different herbs that were there.
Yeah, I might. It's actually that video clip has inspired me, maybe Pete, to have a herb patch now.
Okay.
Yeah, on my allotment, I should grow some. I was going to grow a few herbs, but that's inspired me maybe to grow a few more now.
If I can give you another tip, and that's serious, make them that you can put them under the foot, your soles, your foot sole, under your foot. Yeah. And you can wear them in your sock or.
Yeah.
Well, that's what a lot
wear
of
them at night in a sock.
Yeah, a lot of people do that with onions, don't they?
That's a good one. Yeah, for a cold, I think. Yeah. Flu.
I think the one he didn't.
But yeah, herbs as well. Yeah.
Was garlic.
Pillow. You can put them in a pillow.
You're right. Well, you're right, Cookie.
It's not really a herb, though, is it? It's a
but the flour's good. The flour of the garlic.
Garlic is really good for inflammation and for your blood, right?
Yeah, very good for your blood.
Wild onion, but like you just mentioned onion as well. Yeah, so maybe it's just because he was concentrating on herbs rather than other stuff. Yeah,
I was going to grow just herbs that I use a lot in cooking. So I was going to grow basil, marjoram, and cilantro as well, or coriander as we call it here in the UK.
Thyme and sage as well.
Yeah, I don't use a lot of that in my cooking, Cookie.
No. Oh, well.
Yeah, well, so you don't even have to add that much of that stuff.
No.
For it to work, because it does stuff to your body. It triggers stuff in your body as well.
Yeah.
Once you consume it.
But it has made me think, because I think I've said before, I make my own capsules with a capsule machine. And I think I might just, once I've grown my herbs, dry them out and then crush them down and make them into medicine and capsules.
Yeah. Can we not?
What medicinal herbs are you thinking, Rob?
Well, there's quite a selection in that little video, isn't there?
You could also think of mushrooms, Rob. So,
yeah,
lion's mane.
Well, they just started selling lion's mane in Sainsbury's, Cookie.
Yeah, is it shiitake or shiitake?
Shiitake mushrooms as well.
Yeah, I always thought the way the word's spelled, because it's a Japanese word, to me, it always looked like it said shiitake. It's like, that's appropriate for a fungus, yeah. It grows in cow poo.
But you could probably go to the shop and buy all of these herbs with your chipped silver coins.
Yeah, that's the next one. The Jews, how they got kicked out in what was it, 1205 or something?
Yeah, the 1200s they got kicked out of England.
Yeah, they got kicked out of Jerusalem by Jesus himself for doing this shit. So, it's not a new thing. Yeah, that's the problem of actual money, right? Silver coin. That there is probably somebody filing off some of your silver every time you hand it over to a certain person.
That's why they started putting the ribbed edge on the coins.
Yeah, and eventually ended it because it just, yeah.
And talking of bullion and stuff, gold is up nearly 9% in the last month. So it's per ounce. So
it's why we have the concept of pieces of 8 as well, because some coins were designed deliberately to be subdivided. So the doubloons were commonly divided up into 8 different pieces. That's why the pirates love that pieces of 8. Yeah, because it was a doubloon that had been cut up and divided between them, to share the loot, share the spoils.
All right.
So it's one thing that most people either don't know, or the movies are never really that clear about, because they don't like to tell the public about the real principles of anarchism. But pretty much every pirate group was based on the principles of anarchy. Most of them were working as a collective, an anarchistic collective. They weren't just a bunch of cutthroats necessarily. A lot of them were actually quite politically savvy.
One thing we didn't cover, and we spoke about in the pre-chat, was this new ruling in the Supreme Court.
Oh, yeah. A woman is a woman.
A woman is a woman.
Yeah. A biological woman.
Yeah.
British Supreme Court, right?
Yes. So it applies in the UK. The UK and Northern Ireland, as they say, in this technical definition. So
does that mean they're going to transfer all the transgender men?
Well, that's what
female prisons.
This is something that's been mentioned now, and I listened to a little bit of the one judge's speech, and he did make a point about saying, like, you're going to have to allow a bit of time for this settlement, this judgment to sink in, because obviously a lot of things are going to have to get shuffled around and changed. So
here we go. The Supreme Court has ruled that the legal definition of a woman is based on biological sex, in a decision which could have far-reaching implications for who can access single-sex services and spaces. It came about after Scottish government included transgender women in quotas to ensure gender balance on public sector boards. I mean, this was brought by apparently 3 Scottish women. I think it was 3 Scottish women, and they took it to the Supreme Court, and they've won it.
Well done.
Yeah, good on them. Exactly. So
I've got a feeling as well it's because they were lesbians. And
yes, they were
feminists, real feminists.
Yeah, they wanted their own
basically invading their space.
Yeah.
Actual feminist.
They ruled that the definition of sex as used in the Equality Act 2010 is binary and decided by biology. A person who was not born as a biological female cannot obtain the legal protections the Act affords to women by changing their gender with a gender recognition certificate. There we go.
Okay. So no more male pregnant emojis? Cool.
And hopefully no more prosecutions for blatantly calling somebody a man or a woman when they obviously are, because all you're doing is stating a lawful fact.
Yeah. You would think so.
They can identify as whatever the fuck they want, but they cannot force you to play along with their chosen identity.
Yeah. Well, if they ever said to me about you've got to call me this or call me that, I'd say, well, you have to call me Sir Robert. Sir Robert Dickoff. Big Dickoff.
I'm a doctor.
Sir Robert Big Dickoff. That's my pronoun.
Okay. Okay.
I could say my pronoun is that guy who doesn't believe that you're a woman because you're obviously a fucking man in a dress. There you go. Let's hear you say that every time you address me, you fucking cunt.
My pronoun is not a pervert.
Speaking of that kind of thing, while we're just mentioning it, because it's to do with legal stuff, Stephen Yaxley Lennon.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's staying in prison. Oh, what a surprise!
Ah, poor.
One of the reasons he was protesting was that he couldn't watch GB News. What does that tell you?
Well, that he has lost his mind, maybe.
Yeah, his mental health issues are caused by the fact that he can't watch GB News.
Yeah. It shows that GB News is obviously promoting the kind of divisionary narrative
he wants to hear.
that he pushes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm not saying they're necessarily inaccurate on the news that they report, but they absolutely have a very deliberate slant in the way they present the information.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's
very Zionistic slant.
Yeah.
Far right thugs.
Sure.
And I thought it was. It's still as amusing as it was the first time I saw it, when they took him away and he's wearing that T-shirt that said "arrested for journalism."
I'm a journalist.
Yeah.
It's like, no, mate, you were arrested for breaking the rules about reporting on certain subjects that you were told not to report on
during an active case, and he fucking fucked that case up, and but he will never admit that.
And he likes the notoriety. It serves the purpose of his narrative. Look at the support he gets. Now he's got kudos because he's considered to be victimized by the state. He's now considered to be a truth teller because he's been jailed for supposedly telling the truth.
Yeah,
he's an fucking Israeli stooge. Multiple people have proven this multiple times over the last however many fucking years.
Yeah, Zionist,
people still get caught up in his bullshit, man. I mean, I get it that people are really upset about a lot of the shit that's going on.
With the rapey gangs, sure, but yeah.
Yeah.
Who's behind the rapey gangs?
Yeah, all of this kind of stuff to do with him and people similar to him, it's all problem, reaction, solution.
Who's grooming the grooming gangs, Cookie?
Yeah.
We're getting some medical advice. We're getting some medical advice in the chat here. Dustin says dandelion great for kidneys and liver, and coffee enema forces glutathione production in the liver to kill cancer. There we go. And apparently wild garlic, Jimmy says. Something about not wild garlic, wild lettuce. Apparently.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah. Where'd you find wild lettuce?
You can use wild lettuce, says Jerry, plant for that, Jimmy, apparently with no side effects. So Jimmy, obviously. Grow poppies for the ultimate pain relief for emergencies, says Jim.
Yeah, don't pick them from the side of the road. You know.
Yeah, that's opium though.
Well, we are
have to be
getting
very
ready to
careful,
switch over to the Rumbles.
Yes.
So I'm going to share the link. Rumble.
Oh, yeah, it's 9 o'clock already. Cool. Yes,
Yeah,
Belfield's
sounds good,
coming
man.
out soon, isn't he? Alex Belfield.
Oh, the redhead ginger cunt?
Oh, the one who looks like a fucking monkey.
Yes.
Yeah. And ginger.
Yeah. I think he lived in Leicester, didn't he? Or something like that.
He just does to me. He's always looked like a fucking chimp.
Well, what's her name? Katie
Price. Not Katie Price. Katie,
No.
yeah.
The other one.
Yeah, the other one.
Not the one with the tits. Not the one with the tits.
The one without
the one without the tits.
Katie Hopkins.
Yeah. She still supports
loves
him,
him,
doesn't
doesn't
she?
she?
Yeah.
She loves him big time.
Yeah. She love him big time, man.
Oh.
Anyway, let's go to Rumble.
Well, we're going to switch over to Rumble. So I think we're going to play the song when I kicked off the YouTubes.
Okay.
For convenience, because, they're going to block it anyway. So thank you, YouTube. I did drop the link, so please click on it and hop over to Rumble, and we'll see you there.
Good night, PooTube.